Dr. Lee. It's really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Who do you have here? Is this your chauffeur?
It's my
Came along?
grandson.
Oh, well, lovely. What are you here for?
All of us have been browsing the internet at 5 a.m. and realized that we're on the pimple popping side of YouTube. Today I'm going to cover Dr. Pimple Popper's 5 worst blackhead reels. They're super gross. Welcome back to Spinning Film. Let's get into the video. Number 5, The Masked Man. In one of her YouTube videos, Dr. Pimple Popper works to unmask a patient by removing stubborn blackheads gathered around his eyes. The repeat patient has been lovingly nicknamed the Masked Man by Dr. Pimple Popper due to his blackhead formation. The video chronicles the Masked Man's third visit to her office. In their first meeting, the famed derm removes some sticky stubborn blackheads from his mask, prescribing some medicines to help loosen the remaining clogged pores for his next visit. During his second visit, the patient got a steam facial, which further loosened the blackheads and led him to more successful pops. In the third visit, he is back for another facial and to give the most stubborn blackheads the boot. Dr. Pimple Popper uses a come down extractor to push down the man's face, forcing out the last of his blackheads. Number 4, Doris. Pimple popping can be quite an intense medical procedure. In this video, Dr. Lee extracts an oxidized cyst through a stretched out pore and gives you up close shots of the extraction once it's out.
55-year-old blackhead that's right in front of my ear. Whenever I mentioned it to the doctor, she said it wasn't anything to worry about and to just leave it alone.
Identified only by her first name, explained that she was to Lee's help for a giant blackhead situated by her right ear. Once seated in the exam room with Dr. Pimple Popper, Doris explained that her sister used to try and squeeze out the blackhead, but stopped after an extraction attempt in 1975 that caused pain. Lee said during this special that it's pretty rare to have something this big. It's called a dilated pore whiner, and that is just a giant blackhead that had gotten so big it stretches out the pore. While dermatologists don't know why some people get them, Lee made an incision across the top of the D-pal and then used gentle pressure to squeeze out its hard black cap. It's like a petrified rock she got in there, Lee said to Doris during the procedure. The things got pretty hard. That's your lump of coal. Next, Lee used a spoon-like tool to dig out the remaining D-pal contents and then stitched up the skin where it had been.
Oh, it's like a petrified rock you got in there.
It's massive.
Number 3, some big blackheads. In one of her videos, Dr. Pimple Popper digs a tunnel in a woman's back to remove a massive blackhead, and you won't believe how deep this human-made cave goes.
Serious, you guys are gonna become the new stars.
In the video, Dr. Lee nicks the blackhead to make the extraction less harsh on the patient's skin. She then uses a comb-down extractor to push on the blackhead, causing an eruption of impacted skin and oil. She then uses a curette, a small scoop like a surgical instrument, to clear out any compacted skin left in the open pores. After the removal of the hole left behind was amazingly and frighteningly deep. Which is actually a good thing. Dr. Lee explains it would help the growth heal from the inside out, hopefully preventing any regrowth from occurring. Toward the end of that, Dr. Pimple Popper removes a few scattered blackheads on the patient's back, which are much smaller. In total, she removed about 5 specks dotted around the patient's back. Number 2, soft pops. Dr. Lee's patient this time was a young teenager who came in to get help with a cluster of pesky blackheads on his face before going to school. If you're a teenager, you know very well that learning how to get rid of blackheads can come in a clutch. But why sweat it when you have a famous dermatologist you can call instead? In the video, Dr. Lee dives right in pimple popping after pimple in short with her extractor. Initially, many people thought that his nose was a huge cyst and wonder why it was being so dutifully ignored. Blackheads are a type of comb down. Comb downs occur when the pores in the skin become plugged with dead skin cells and an oily protective substance known as sebum. The top of the blackhead, which is visible on the surface of the skin, has a dark color. Normally, hair grows from hair follicles in the pores, and the sebum-producing sebaceous glands lie underneath. Number 1, zits in ear. In an Instagram video, Dr. Pimple Popper drags out some jammy blackheads from a patient's ear, including a massive mama blackhead. In the video, Dr. Lee uses a comb-down extractor to press down on the woman's ear, pulling out several blackheads in the process. But those tiny jammy gems aren't worth the gross she wants. Ferrite in the patient's ear is a particularly big blackhead that Dr. Lee was after. Eventually, she successfully produced an icky worm-like result. A blackhead is a single pore filled with dead skin and oil forming a blackhead when exposed to air. Blackheads are small, dark lesions that appear on the skin, often on the face and neck. They are a feature of mild acne, but they can appear without other signs of acne being present. They contain an oxidized version of melanin, the dark pigment made by cells in the skin. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. Also watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.